Alrighty, gang, welcome back to our latest episode of the Legions of Nagash Total War Warhammer 3 Let's Play. Where we left it off, we had finished our heroic defense of Nagash. We've seen off some of the Ratmen. We have to decide what to do about the rest of them. I think their threat looming over Nagash and Crimson Peak is officially over, but the fighting is far from it. We are going to have to take Ulmar Helstein out of Nagash, and we're going to have to take him and chase down the remainder of those Ratmen. Meanwhile, over here we have managed to recolonize our lost territories. We have a rebellion by Oyas. We're gonna have to run Archon back very quickly indeed to Numas to organize the defenses. We have unlocked where'd she go? We have unlocked Genevieve Dudain. She's gonna be one of our heroes that boosts infrastructure because obviously we are in the red. We are having a doozy of a time trying to maintain a balanced budget, but it's just all over the place. One more thing I noticed in the recording, because I am blind, is we have unlocked Neferata, and for some odd reason, some inescapable reason, Neferata has decided to deploy herself all the way up north in the World's Edge Mountains. This is Sylvania. This is the realm of man that we were talking about conquering. That is the Empire. We're gonna have to find out. I think we're gonna have to see if this is occupied. But I think Neferata, in her position, will be able to take the Silver Pinnacle and get us a province with gems. Gems being 3 tiers of building, which by the end of it gives us 600 gold a turn, plus the tradable good of gemstones themselves. Hero rank recruitment +1 for Morghast of Arkai, our legendary heroes, minus 50% upkeep for ethereal units in the region, +3 recruitment rank for ethereals in the region, and wins of magic power reserve capacity +6 per all armies. So we definitely want gemstones here. That's going to be great for us. I think Neferata then might focus on cairn wraiths and ghost spirit hosts. But unfortunately, because she just spawned, she has no movement range, so we're going to have to save her decisions for next turn. Meanwhile, now on to the main nitty-gritty. Nagash taking his vengeance upon Skarbrand and his host of Khornate followers. It claims it's going to be a Pyrrhic victory. I don't want to take that many casualties. Oh, it is a settlement battle, which will be interesting. That might be why we're going to take so many casualties. A settlement battle meaning that they can build towers and defend themselves, but that will mean nothing to Nagash, the Supreme Lord of Undead. I am very excited to see what his capabilities are on the battlefield, and we are going to see that shortly. We have interesting units. I'm curious to see how they're going to go. We got Shade Haunts, which is a big vortex of spirits. Walk through the dark sepulchral forests and woodlands of the world, and you will hear the wails of the disembodied spirits that haunt these locations. Has no armor, has 50 melee attack with magical, and I don't know what that is. Grasping Whirlwind effect. Okay, so when they're in melee combat, they cause -8 melee defense and -50 speed. That is a very good one. They have no melee defense, only 8. Their weapon strength is 28 armor piercing damage. They have a meager charge bonus of 18. Stop it. I'm trying to keep the unit card up, but it's not letting me. Well, in the battle replay, I'll read out more of their capabilities. That, and we have the Varian the Grim, the Magical Chariot. The legends of all lands and all races tell of the Plague Cart, but whether it is of this world or another, none can say. And that one there is going to give us a lot of area of effect buffs and area of effect hexes to our enemies. We have, leading the defenses, Slauhalan Heart Ripper is the name of the captain of this garrison. We got Cornate Chaos Warriors with halberds. We got 4 units of Bloodletters, a Chaos Hound of Khorne, and Flesh Hounds of Khorne. Flesh Hounds being their much more terrifying cousins of regular Chaos Warhounds. Now, the Battle of Agrul Migdal. I will see you all there. Alrighty, gang. Nagash's first answer to the hordes of Khorne. Look at that, the Black Pyramid looming over Agrul Migdal. For the Khornate worshippers, this is truly the end. We've split our army into three sections. Nagash is leading 2 units of halberds and a unit of bone golems with that Virion the Grim chariot. Of course, his abilities are being able to have a physical resistance of 75%, almost max. The Last Journey, 3 uses. If the hit points are less than 20% and the enemy's hit points are less than 20%, he'll just finish them off and summon a unit of skeleton reapers from their corpses. Very useful. The enemy does have towers. We are going to answer those in kind with our Morghast to get rid of them. And of course, the enemy is going to sally out. We're going to charge in with our units, going to start tearing those Khornate dogs a new one. And Nagash himself looming over the battlefield. He is not going to have any of it from these usurpers. He's going to summon an Abyssal Swarm to tear them down a new size. He is just flinging these units back and forth, and his hordes have answered the call to him. Meanwhile, our next detachment, led by our White King and those Shade Haunts, with their Grasping Hands ability and their Beyond the Veil, they're unspottable, so they're going to be invisible until they're right on top of the enemy. They're going to start chasing down and supporting our flank with Nagash. And of course, the Tomb Scorpion leading the 3rd detachment. They are going to get stuck in here on this right flank, and the Tomb Scorpion is going to bear down, and he's going to surprise those Khornate Chaos Worshippers. Meanwhile, the Bone Throwers are going to bombard the enemy and support him. He is going to rip them pincer and stinger. Those Khornate warriors do not stand a chance as his troops support him in that battle. Meanwhile, the Shade Haunts already taken half their HP. It's because the Khornate worshippers have magical attacks, and they have a melee attack of 47, so that's why they're not lasting long. Khornate, a bad matchup for those Shade Haunts. We're going to cause a healing on them to make sure they don't collapse out of the battle. Meanwhile, this front right here, already destroyed. We have summoned a unit of Skeleton Reapers from the dead, and they're going to attack their former brothers in arms. Just slaughtering them. The Chaos units are going to start crumbling now on that flank. Meanwhile, their main center is going to continue to hold with those halberds. We have landed our Archai down now. He's going to start ripping those Khornate worshippers apart. And now the Shade Haunts now back to full health due to that healing from Nagash. We're going to send both our Archai in, Hans Lambda and Aphostos. Aphostos, meanwhile, showing Hans Lambda how it's done. Not going to let his experience overshadow his brutality. Our Bone Throwers now are going to bombard a unit trying to defend a surgical point. We have now our Tomb Scorpion. He's going to keep shredding this eastern flank. They are almost done with this battle. They do not want to be around long for that Tomb Scorpion as he continues to rip them apart. And look at that barrel roll. Star Fox would be pleased with that one. Look at that. He is just having a field day. This is what he wanted. Meanwhile, back at the main last stand of the enemy units, those Archai, and Nagash is finally in. He is going to tear these fools apart. These mortals did not stand a chance. And as their will to fight flees them and they forsake their god of blood and slaughter, Nagash is going to continue to harry them and slaughter them, with the Black Pyramid collecting their souls for Nagash's nefarious uses. They are done with this battle, and this has been a retribution several turns in the making. Alrighty, gang. A Pyrrhic victory indeed. We lost 16 ghouls to over 1,012 Cornate worshippers. We also got a war banner for our troubles, plus 8 leadership. That might be effective. I was a little bit upset about the Shade Haunts. They took an insane amount of damage. Granted, a lot of the Cornate units have magical attacks, I believe. It makes them a bit more tough and fighty. That's just a consequence of that game. But our Virion the Grim cart popping off its ability once in that battle, absolutely decimating those forces. An absolute stomp. Nagash proving his worth. We are going to have to unlock him more spells in order to make himself even more powerful. With that, you know what we might do? We might loot and occupy, get ourselves a decent amount of income and replenishment rate from that, and I think what we'll do is we'll sell the settlement to the sires of Morcaine to ensure a proper alliance with them. Meanwhile, do we have movement range? No, we lose all our movement range. So Skarbrand's going to be able to escape. He's probably going to flee. His home province is Death Gorge. We're not going to worry about repairing this at all. We are, however, going to upgrade Nagash's pyramid because we're going to need the money income regen. That oh man, if we could get Necrosphinxes, holy cannoli on Stromboli, that would be very, very powerful. We're also going to get the base of the Black Obelisk because we want to increase our capabilities. That's going to give us plus 15 Winds of Magic Power Reserve capacity, minus 6 enemy leadership when fighting against the Undead in the local province, which, of course, being as this is a Horde building, is going to be whatever province Nagash is in, which is going to be critical for us. Melee defense plus 4 for Bone Golems, because in case they haven't been tanky enough this Let's Play campaign. And spell resistance 10% for all ethereal units. Very good. That's going to keep the AI from focusing down our ethereal units with their magic, which is one of the few things they can use to hurt them. So we're going to get those 2 buildings. We're going to save the rest of the money. Nagash's army upkeep is insane at 5,500. Oh, we did get a skill point that battle. What do we want? We're not really hurting for horde growth. We got the 8th and the 9th book of Nagash. What did the other ones do? The first book gives us Foz protection, a defensive armor and melee defense buff. Physical resistance, 5% for lords and embedded heroes, all armies faction-wide, and enabling flaming attacks for all units in the army. If we go up against the orcs, and they have a whole horde of trolls, we might need that, because regeneration is a basic ability of the trolls. So if we can do, and they'll be more weak to flame attacks. So we're gonna maybe do that one. Campaign line of second book grants us campaign line of sight plus 20% and leadership aura size plus 50%. This army does not have the weak skeletons anymore, so leadership shouldn't be that big of a deal. But the bound spell of Banishment. Banishment is a very powerful vortex. It lasts 18 seconds. It does moderate magical damage. It's really good for when the enemy pulls up. And especially since one of the big things about Nagash is spell mastery. So if you see down here, unit attributes spell mastery 150%. That means every spell that Nagash pops off, baseline, is going to be 150% more potent. So that vortex we were looking at, 7 magical damage per second, that's going to be 150% more powerful. So that's going to be 10.5 points of damage per second, and that's all armor piercing. And it's only going to get crazier from here. The third book of Nagash gives us stock for tomb scorpions. We do have a tomb scorpion, and speed for said tomb scorpion. That'll be useful. And it gives us a vortex of Sekhmet's incantation. This one here is a different vortex. It does 21 damage per second, which is even more powerful, doing flaming and magical attack, but 0 armor piercing. But again, that's 3 times as powerful as the banishment spell. That might be something we want to look into. Of course, we can also just belay all that and focus entirely on getting our next tier of magical spells. In this case, we have... Once we get past this, we get evasion. We can get our first tier spell is Solheim, the Hand of Dust, which causes... It has a phase of 5 seconds, and then on the second phase, for 1 second, it causes 500 damage to 1,000 damage per second. It targets a single unit. So basically, you can just delete them. And then the Overcast is 3,000 range damage. Okay. So it's 3,000 range damage and 132 explosive damage with a range of 100 meters and a cooldown of 60 seconds. So that's a delete this guy button. And plus, with his spell mastery, it's going to be 150% more powerful, which is going to be useful for us. The next ability he gets is a Lord ability. It's called the Harbinger, which summons a White King, a Lich Priest, and a Fleet Captain. Just spawn like 3 heroes all in a vicinity. Okay. He gets Arch Necromancer, which gives him minus 25% miscast base chance and Winds of Magic power reserve capacity plus 25. Master of Arcane Conduit, which is going to give him a power recharge of 120% with a reserves per second 0.1. If you don't know, reserves per second is a replenishment of our basic magical power. So if a battle lasts long enough, there is a chance that you're going to gain magic as you're waiting. Even if you bring it down to 0, that's what that reserves per second is. It also increases our spell mastery by an additional 30%. So this is a passive. He'll have this constantly throughout the entire battle he's in. And that's crazy. Death Magic Incarnate. So he's going to have a passive regen area of effect ability around himself. He's going to heal 0.54% per second. Vigor per second minus 10%, which means that his people are going to get tired a lot less. He's going to be unbreakable, cannot die, which means that if a model drops down to 0 health, they're still going to be standing after that, at least for the effects of it. It has a 40 meter effective range and a duration of 15 seconds. I wonder how long the recharge rate is on that. It pops off if the affected unit is less than 25% hit points or is wavering. So in a 40 meter range around Nagash, we definitely want him in the front lines because he will be able to give our troops that last burst of energy, that last little bit of kick before they completely crumble, which will be good, especially later on in the game when we reach more tougher foes. So far, we've been lucky with that. I think, for now, what we are going to do is we are going to get... We're going to get the Khazar the Soul Stealer, because I'm really curious. so I might have been using this wrong. It is Soul Stealer. It heals our units in a 30-meter range for 18 seconds, and it damages enemy units by 1 damage per second. Oh, so that 18 seconds is the entire duration of the spell. It has a 200-meter range. Its radius, of course, being 30 meters. Its cooldown is 52 seconds. It deals damage to foes and heals allies in the same area, replenishes hit points. It has a large strike area, so it just picks and chooses, and is strong against single units. So maybe that would be a good one to pop if we have a unit of Nagash Ishar Guard facing off against an enemy hero or a lord. That might give them a little bit more oomph. We are going to get that because I'm curious to see how well that goes. And that's adding to our tier of magic. So when we get a skill point again, we can get the Rise of the Grave Call, and then we can start getting on to these later tiers of passive abilities that we just talked about. I want to get this entire line completed because I want to see how powerful Nagash can be. Meanwhile, we're going to save our cash. We have a decent amount. We don't want to spend it all. We got more skill points for Aphostos, our new mass Tomb King turned traitor, or turned ally, finally. We're going to give him Blade Master. We're going to increase the mobility of our army. Very simple callouts there. If you are unaware, the more movement range our army has, the more effective it is on the campaign map. We're going to get hard to hit. We're going to make our White King a little bit more defensive, round him off evenly. He has 71 melee attack and 68 melee defense. And then the last thing we're going to do probably is we're going to upgrade Archon's horde building. He's going to go from 250 income to... Oh, he's going to go from 150 income, sorry, to 250 income. We definitely want him to start making us more money. I think once we start getting more money in the bank, we're going to start adding Archon's retinue. Is there anything we can put in the Black Pyramid for right now that we can afford? No. Unfortunately, not at this moment. It's just defenses and recruitment. We've already maxed out the amount of income it can hold. We have more unassigned skill points. Of course, Ulmar Helstein has earned 2. We are going to give him plenty. We want Children of the Night to reduce the upkeep by an additional 3% of his army. And I think we are going to make him, as a caster, more powerful. We're going to get Gaze and Nagash as a spell he can use to target enemy heroes and lords. We're definitely, with this garrison stack, we are definitely lacking in that capability. We have no more dead to raise, but we can hire more archers. The archers were absolutely essential in that defense. We got another... Neferata. Okay, so we're going to do a lot of character management today. Bear with me now. So, Neferata has a special skill tree. She has Deathly Vigor, which gives her perfect vigor, so she doesn't tire. Innocence Lost. These deceptive creatures look so inoffensive and vulnerable that the enemy lowers his own defense, which is when they strike. Bonus versus infantry plus 25, so she's going to be able to tear apart infantry columns pretty quickly. She gets an ability called Seduction. How could a mortal resist the lure of a creature that has preyed on warm-blooded males since the dawn of time? Who can refuse to becoming her willing slave? It is a hex ability. Lasts 41 seconds, has a range of 35 meters, and it does minus 24 melee attack and minus 25% speed. So that's pretty much most of the melee attack of the generic infantry unit in this game. She has Twilight's Allure. 136 of her followers have raised armies, fleets, and beasts to hurl themselves against my walls. They come from north, east, south, sea, sky, and sand, from the jungles and the mountains too. They pour forth in a limitless tide, and they are broken on my walls. So, it gives her plus 15% physical resistance. But we cannot have her fighting the faction Liberus. It causes her to lose that 15% physical resistance and 8 melee defense. She's got another tier to this. Lightning Reflexes is an augmented ability. It'll give her, for 32 seconds, speed of 25% and damage resistance of 20%. She has Queen of Mysteries, which gives her plus 12 melee defense, plus 20% weapon strength, plus 50% leadership aura size when attacking. Queen of Mysteries, ancient, powerful, beautiful, seductive, and cunning. Traits that give the Queen of Mysteries an advantage on the battlefield with both blade and tongue, and I will read Lightning Reflexes, I'm sorry. The body of a vampire looks human, but is capable of reactions so fast that even the quickest swordsman would look clumsy in comparison. Then we have First of the Vampires, Queen of Lamia, the first of the vampires, Neferata distilled an elixir of life, which cursed her for all eternity. Neferata and her court became stricken by an unquenchable thirst for mortal blood. Lamia became the birthplace of vampires. I'm going to give her 10% hit points, speed of plus 10% for vampiric units, all armies, faction-wide. Going to give her a wound recovery time of -3 turns and the passive ability Blood Queen, which is a infinitely running regeneration of 0.13%, and it's enabled if the leadership is higher than 50% of the base. So as long as her leadership is above 50%, she will be getting that heal constantly. This also affects, so speed of vampiric units is going to affect all our vampire heroes, lords, etc., including Luther Mortarch of the Abyss, the Vampire Coasts, the Pirate Lord. The rest of them are the standard, the box standard vampire counts. Manfred's going to get that speed boost. Vlad von Karstein's going to get that speed boost. Isabella, etc. We got 3 more abilities to read off to you. The Grand Masquerade. You are a greater fool than even I believed, and never shall you join my kin. We are guests at the ultimate masquerade, and your kind is simply not invited. Plus 20% weapon strength when fighting against elves, humans, dwarves, and undead for the Lord's army. Okay. And it gives her plus 8 melee attack and defense. She is quite the killy melee lord. I'm curious to see what her stats are going to look like at the end of this perk tree. Web of Spies. Behind every great man is a great woman. And behind those great women is me. So she has a 10% ward save and a 15% chance for ambush, for popping off and defending against ambushes for all armies faction-wide. Okay, so she definitely loves her spy game. Transfix. A vampire's eyes are like deep pits within which mortals find their doom. The unfortunate victims can do nothing but stare, entranced by the deadly hunter preparing to strike. The ability is, of course, a augment. It imbues Discouraged as a hex, which for 10 seconds reduces leadership by 16. It gives her a speed of 25% and damage resistance of 20% for 26 seconds. So she's definitely like a hunter-killer lord, of course. We're going to be curious. And, of course, she also gets the vampire undead magic tree, which is going to give her Invocation of Heck, Penumbral Pendulum, which is in the Jade Magic School, I believe. She gets Winds of Death, Occam's Minzador, which makes whoever's imbued by it attack even harder. She's got a lot of interesting spells. She is an interesting woman indeed. She's already got a mount, Barded Nightmare. Neferata can ride an armored steed of defiled flesh and bone. Such an abominable horse is known as a nightmare. Okay, so we are going to immediately, if we can, go down her top skill tree because we're going to get campaign movement range, of course, but we're going to go down her top, and we're also going to give her Invocation of Nehek because a health regen spell for her units will be useful just to keep them in the fight for longer. We're going to give her that Deathly Figure. We're going to give her Innocence Lost so she can be more deadly against infantry. Give her the Seduction ability. Twilight's of Allure for that physical resistance and lightning reflexes. We're almost all the way through the tree already, and she's just started. Very good indeed. Now that she can move, of course, we are going to
it will be done.
Move her to the east real quick. We're going to recruit a bunch of chaff to swell her ranks. We want her to be strong and to be able to defend herself. Unfortunately, she can't encamp, which means we won't be able to improve her horde buildings. We are very lucky that we get these horde mechanics for all our legendary lords, just to give even a tiny dollop of income. Building upgrades, of course, we can't do. Commandment available for the Ash River. We are going to do the income from all buildings by 10%. We can repair damaged buildings. I don't think we will. We're just going to hold on to this long enough to get the replenishment and to move on to the next Cornate settlement. Research available. Neferata. Yeah, we should probably bestow the Archive to Neferata. Give her her own hero. Those have proven to be very, very potent units indeed with Aphostos and Hans Lambda. And we're going to end turn and see what happens. Skarbrand has seen it fit to encamp. He is challenging us at Agrul Migdal. Gyros is now running back and forth. She decided to take a bit of a sniff at what's going on in Bitter Bay and did not like it. She is now poisoned by the plague. Hopefully that plague does not come to Nagash. I don't think we can handle a plague right now. Manfred wants a defensive alliance. Yes, 100 times over. Yes, we need to have that faction under wraps. Eventually we'll be able to claim him. Abarash Baylor. Now we can see where all his allied units are moving to. I'm going to take a moment real quick and speed that up. So if you don't know, anytime during an end turn, you can pause it, come up here to the top left corner. You see this camera with a gear symbol. This is where you can set your camera settings. So if you are interested, I want to see where my allies' armies are going, but I don't care about their heroes. I'm going to turn that off, which means it skips over that turn. Playing it in fast forward mode. We're going to turn the army's animation to fastest. Enemies, I want to know what both are doing, so we're going to set fastest and fastest. And neutral factions, again, no need for the heroes, and we want to watch their armies at the fastest speed. So now I've done all this. I'm going to close out of that, and you can see the effects taking place instantly. Unfortunately, there is no save for this, so you have to set it every time you play a campaign. But it is a very nice tool that they have for them. It looks like Sylvania has already taken plenty of settlements inside the World's Edge Mountains. Maybe Vlad von Karstein is at war with Karak Kadrin, the Slayer King. We will see. We need to get eyes everywhere. Alright, so our next horde of Skaven. We cannot escape the Skaven no matter which way we go. Oh, okay. Infectique is not done. He's marching his way back to Nagash. Io Shares has finally recovered. We're going to have to grant him his own army, considering how effective he was in the last stream of battles. We have now got our movement range. So Nagash, having more skill points, he's unlocked an additional skill point. We're going to get the Rise, the Grave Call, which causes a unit of Crypt Ghouls and 2 units of zombies to spawn. We're going to get that so we can get towards his other tier of spells as quickly as possible. Oh, I did not read this part. So if we unlock all 9 books of Nagash, we get 9 books of Nagash, the final perk in that tree. Nagash was the first and greatest of all the necromancers, and he created almost all of the spells that allow these followers of the dark arts to raise and control the undead. The secrets of his magical spells are recorded in 9 massive tomes known as the 9 Books of Nagash. Each book contains the secrets of one of Nagash's necromantic spells. And with that, we are going to get the maximum stack of all of the abilities, which is Miscast Chance minus 20, Winds of Magic Power Reserve plus 20, Ward Save plus 20 for Morghast units and Morghast Archai heroes, and a plus 10 Ward Save for Mortarch Lords faction-wide. So all these legendary lords we just uncovered, they're going to get 10% Ward Save, which means that a ward save is a damage defense or like a block against a percentile of all the damage inflicted on the lord just off the top. Doesn't matter if it's magical or non-magical armor piercing. It is just a constant damage modifier. 15%, meaning that if I do 100 damage to a unit, 15 points of that off the top are just pulled. So you can also look at this as the health pool. So if I have a 15% wards or a 10% ward save, on my Morghast Lord, and his health is 8,570, you can take that health pool and add a factor or multiply it by 110%, and that's what his effective health pool is. So it'd be like 8.5. We'll round down, say it's 8,000 health. So if he has a ward save of 10%, he has 8,800 health now, because that ward save is going to make each one of those hit points that much harder to scratch off when the enemy attacks him. On top of that, Arcan himself has another skill point, and this time we have unlocked his second tier of spells, the Lore of Death. We are going to give him the Purple Sun of Xeres because that's such a cool vortex to use and to see on the battle map. And we are going to take our army now. I'm done biting your ear off. We're going to take our army now, and we're going to take the fight to Skarbrand. He is going to scuttle away like a coward, and we're going to chase him down into the swamps. Another Pyrrhic victory. He has 2 Soul Grinders. He has 2 units of Minotaurs of Khorne. He has 2 sets of Flesh Hounds. He has 1 Chaos Warrior of Khorne. He has 1 Exalted Bloodletter, a tier above regular Bloodletters. And he has a Blood Reaper hero. So this is a nasty army of monsters. We are going to have to use every trick in the book. Our halberds, our Nagash Ishar Guard, our bone golems. We're going to have to do everything we can to pick apart all of these insane one single entity monstrous units. We are going to see how that affects us. I think we have a little bit of time. We're going to play this battle out and see how it goes. Alrighty, gang. So, with that sacking of Argul Mingdal, Skarbrand did not want to face our hordes, but he is forced to confront the consequences of his own actions. He messed around, he's about to find out, but he is not going to take it lying down. As you can see, we have the Black Pyramid looming over the background. I love that effect in all these battle maps now. Skarbrand himself has 2 units of Soul Grinders of Khorne, a very terrifying thing indeed. They have ranged attacks, and they have a decent amount of weapon strength and melee attacks. They do fire and magic. He has a swarm of Bloodletters, including these Exalted, an even more deadly version of the regular gaggle of troops. He's got a unit of Corn Warriors, and these two Minotaur sections right here. These are going to be terrifying. Dual axes, meaning they have an even higher weapon strength, and the Soul Grinders as well. They're going to adjust their line. We are going to get ourselves into a position. I'm keeping 2 units of Nagash Guard in reserve in case one of the abilities of the Cornate armies is they can summon a unit of Bloodletters at will, another summoned unit. We do not want that in our rear, tearing apart our poor bony boy catapult throwers. Meanwhile, Nagash himself is getting ready. He is definitely eager to give some undead retribution to the enemy. So again, I'm kind of worried about our Shade Haunts. They're a very cool unit, but they have no defense, and if the enemy has magical attacks, they are just asking for it. So we're going to see how well they handle an army with primarily nothing but magical attacks. Meanwhile, our halberds are getting ready in line. We have given the order to advance. They are going to advance. Our Virion the Grim Chariot. Oh wow, he's got a little crown. Look at him go. He is going to advance along with. He is going to look for souls to harvest and to turn against their brothers. Our Tomb Scorpion, we gotta name this guy. I gotta figure out a name for him. We're gonna do that in the next episode, of course. He is eager to answer the call. We're gonna send our Morgas, Hans Lambda, and Aphostus out to answer. We're going to send them on the flanks to attack their Soul Grinders, because their Soul Grinders do have a ranged attack. It's a very nasty one. We do not want them popping off shots while we close in, especially since we have nothing to answer their ranged armies except for our Bone Throwers. Our Bone Throwers are going to bombard, focus mostly on their Minotaurs, and now Aphostos getting in. He is going to start doing damage, and the battles have joined. Look at that. He is not deterred at all by the Soul Grinder's size. He is going to start tearing him apart. Both have regeneration. It's going to be a nasty one. And the battle lines have joined. Skarbrand is popping off Frenzy. That means that we won't be able to command our units for a bit, but we don't have to worry about that because they're just going to get stuck in for right now. Meanwhile, Skarbrand is throwing his weight around, and that's not going to matter when we have Nagash and his spells. Meanwhile, our Shade Haunts instantly being slaughtered by the Exalted. That magical damage is just going to tear them apart. They are losing health in seconds. They're not going to last long. But our Nagash Guard with halberds are going to be able to hold against those Minotaurs pretty well. Our Tomb Scorpion is going to answer the call and start fighting their Blood Reaper. That Chariot's not going to know what it's going to do with itself. This Tomb Scorpion does not care. Meanwhile, Hans Lambda himself is almost already through this Soul Grinder right here. It didn't take him long at all. But that's not going to save him from falling down on his face, unfortunately. Meanwhile, their Chaos Corn units are already decaying. We have summoned that spell, that effect right there. There it is. Demonic Instability has popped. He is not going to want to stick around for too long. We are sapping his life energy. The White King, harangued by his attacks, is undeterred. He's going to keep poking at his ankles with his sword. He does not care. But Skarbrand is going to go down. He has been punished for his rebellion against the Blood God, and now he's being punished by Nagash for his lack of humility, I suppose. He's going to turn into ash, and his army is going to be decayed around him. We're not going to give them any chance to retreat. We're going to run them down and slaughter them. More souls for the harvest, and more victims for the Black Pyramid. Nagash has seen retribution this day. Alrighty, gang. Retribution has finally befallen Skarbrand. He is officially knocked out of the playing field. I'm kind of disappointed with how those Shade Haunts handled themselves. They took an insane amount of damage. Granted, a lot of the Cornate units used magical attacks, so it was only a matter of time before they tore themselves apart. But our Morgas, our Kai, doing excellent work against their Soul Grinders. Those were the things I was afraid of the most. Obviously, they're very nasty units, and those Morgai were able to just tank them. With that battle, we are going to take replenishment. There's not a whole lot of replenishment to gain. We definitely need Winds of Magic. Our Winds of Magic are dropping considerably. We're going to put ourselves in an encampment stance, and we are going to start marching towards Death Gorge, give them an even larger bloody nose. In the meantime, we're going to look to replenish that unit that we lost. Unfortunately, there's nothing really we can replace it with right now. I think we'll get ourselves a unit of Skeleton Reapers just to fill the ranks until we can unlock bigger and better things. I'm thinking, now that we have a decent amount of cash, maybe finally replacing our Bone Throwers, maybe give them to another army in need. Replace our Bone Throwers, maybe start getting a Casket of Souls, or we can hold on to them and start upgrading ourselves towards the Chamber of Hidden, which unlocks Necrosphinx. Definitely, we want a Necrosphinx, a big bad evil unit at the center of our army to do an innumerable amount of damage. We are going to get that. The Chamber of Horses. Meanwhile, we are going to let Manfred's going to wrap up the left flank. I think if we focus on Death Gorge, that's going to be best for us. Let's see now. What is that faction called? They are the Sires of Morcaine.
Greetings. Let me rid
We're going to give them
those
Arguel
corpses
Migdal.
that crowd your fields and cemeteries.
They're going to take it, and they're going to give us money. We also have... oh, shoot. We have 13 Warpstone. So here's the other part. Because the Undead factions are all led by vampires of varying degrees of hideousness, if we have enough Warpstone, we can just vassalize them, which is what we just did there. So now he is our vassal, he is also our buffer, and we just gave him a settlement for a trade deal. Alrighty, things are coming up Millhouse. We can't vassalize Manfred or the other legendary lords, unfortunately. We have to unlock them through the tech tree doing that. We killed Zakroska, his hero. We gained fire resistance. We gained the skill trait Blood Quencher. Defeated Skarbrand the Exile, which gives our entire army 8% weapon strength and a plus 5 charge bonus. Alright, so now we have ourselves a defensive structure in the north. That'll be very useful. We're going to try and actually annex most of Khemri, especially the stuff to the west and Archon's home territory. Form a base of operations here. Qatar has finally been built back up again, and we're going to build the Pyramid of King Far again. Oh, that's very nice of them. Sorry, I didn't mean to be too loud. Our allies, Manfred, got rid of the rebellion. How kind of them. We're finally going to move Genevieve over to the former site of the Black Pyramid. There's no point in upgrading that, but now that Numas's threat has been extinguished, we're going to upgrade it to the second tier of encampment. We are starting to get an economy rolling again, and now that we have secured our front line for the most part, we can start deciding where we want to send Nagash after Death Gorge. We have a lot of skill points to assign as well, which is probably what we're going to do for the rest of the episode. I don't want this to drag on too long. We're going to get evasion so we can start unlocking the rest of it. I'm going to focus on the rest of his spells for right now, and then I think we're going to double back and start unlocking each book of Nagash, which we can assign to our heroes at will, depending on what they need. Meanwhile, I've completely neglected the magic items pool. So we're going to give Alakanash the Staff of Power, which gives the Staff of Power passive ability. It's a hex across the entire map that increases miscast chance by 50% and speed of magic casters reduces the speed of magic casters by 20%. That'll be very useful for us. It's going to also reduce the Winds of Magic power reserve of enemy factions wherever Nagash is at. It's going to give us a research rate of 15 and a miscast chance of -15. So we're gonna drop that off in Nagash's pack real quick. I don't think he wants any of the other items, but we're gonna also start looking at his Morkai here. Aphostos is going to get more increased mobility, and we're going to give him more melee attack so that our army can move further and he can hit harder. Obviously, Hans Lambda has already got max increased mobility. We are going to focus on giving him... We have a choice here, either Heroic Killing Blow, which is an augmented ability that increases his armor-piercing weapon damage and his base weapon damage by 50%. His weapon strength is already 552, so that would be about 450 for the armor-piercing weapon damage and about 275 for the base weapon damage for approximately 25 seconds. Which, if we're going to use them like we did in that last battle to target enemy monsters and all that, that might be useful. Or we can just increase the whole caboodle by 20%, which gives us an extra 37 weapon strength throughout the entire battle. And because his melee attack is 69, he's going to be hitting quite often, so that might be better overall instead of just that ability for 25 seconds. I think we're going to go with Woundmaker for right now to increase his overall damage off the rip. Meanwhile, our hero Steinberg von Deal, what's the deal with Deal? He's got another one, another skill point to add. I think for right now, because we're getting close to the end of experience on all our base units, I want to add to that. We're going to increase his training up by an additional point, so now every unit in the army gains an additional 30% experience at the end of each battle. That'll top off all these Nagash Guard nicely. They gain a point of melee attack and a point of leadership and a point of melee defense per rank of the unit. So having +9 to leadership, melee defense, and melee attack is going to be huge. The more leadership we can dump on these units and the better their stats are, the more they can do on the field, considering this is going to be our front line for a long time. I'm very pleased with Varion the Grimm's performance there. Let's see what else we have to do here. Building upgrades. I don't want to spend too much money, and that's only an extra 100 gold a turn. We're not going to upgrade Archon to tier 3, but we are going to give him... Oh, we can't. Well, you know, actually, if we do upgrade him to tier 3, which is going to take a turn, we can then unlock the third tier of the money building for him, the Necrotic Burden, which will give him an additional 200 gold a turn. Not to mention that the Horde building itself will give him an additional. So we'll get, if we upgrade this, we'll actually get, at the end of the next turn, an additional 350 income to Archon.
Yes?
That might be worth it. We have 4 Warpstone left over after we subjugated the Ghoul King and his realm of Morgheim. That's good for us. He's got a decent, healthy army stack. He's got a decent garrison back at his main camp. I think he's going to be around for a bit. Plus, if we keep feeding him Skarbrand's old territories, he'll have a good economic base since the AI likes to cheat to build off of. Meanwhile, in Nagashar, Infectique is not done. He wants to seek even more destruction. We can't raise more dead. can we, if you actually,
Bloodline calls.
you can see what the auto-resolve will say just by hovering over the enemy army. So if you see down here by this little banner next to my sword icon, it'll say it's a 50-50 split between my army and his. That's not good enough. I know he can't assail. He couldn't do it with 3 armies. He's not going to do it by himself. I think our best bet is just to defend for right now. But in the meantime, any buildings we want in Nagash, we can build ourselves another stables over here. I don't think we need that just yet. We can get a defiled cairn, which can start unlocking the ghost units, especially the cairn wraiths, the fell specters, the hex wraiths, which are the cavalry version of the cairn wraiths. We could also start unlocking magic casters when the Lich Priest, but I don't think we need recruitment buildings right now. I don't think our issue is armies, it's economy. And unfortunately, we don't have another tier of economic buildings just yet. We're 14 turns away from unlocking our 4th growth point, which gets us to tier 4 on Nagash. But, we're not going to be able to do that just yet because we have to wait that long. And I don't believe... We've already maxed out the growth building, so we can't get any more growth here, period. The only way we can acquire more growth is if we sally Ulmar out and take Bitter Bay and unlock the commandment and a growth building over here in Bitter Bay. Which I don't want to open up another front just yet. I'm more than happy to have all these factions in the Badlands not knowing I exist and defending my little warpstone mines up here in the mountains as we do our main campaign out here in the Badlands. Meanwhile, what can Neferata do for right now? She can move. Let's see what is in Silver Pinnacle. There is nothing in Silver Pinnacle, so she is going to colonize and grow the settlement. That'll be a great standoff point. We're going to get that huge amount of income there. To her rear is Sylvania, which is fortunate for us. There is one Kislev settlement in Kazid Oh, my enunciation is terrible. Urkulaz? But we're not exactly at war with Kislev, and Neferata has a bunch of diplomacy bonuses to said human factions.
Darkness comes.
We can do another rite. What rite can we perform? Nothing yet. It lied to me, the fools. We're going to see what diplomacy we have. We're going to go to the quick deal. If you want to rifle through diplomacy as quickly as possible and not have to click on each individual banner as you used to do in Total Wars, what you can do is come down to the diplomacy tab, and over here there's this wonderful little button called Quick Deal. The newer Total Wars have done one thing right. They have made each likelihood for diplomacy a numerical number now, not just a low, medium, or high chance. So what you can see now is you can see exactly what the number is for why a AI faction says, no, I don't want this, and yes, I want this. So right now we're going to try and get a non-aggression pact with Sylvania, since they are our neighbors in the mountains. We're going to click on it.
And thou art most welcome.
Oh, thank you, buddy. Oh, wow. Ruler's tolerance of the Lords of Nagash, 85. So we're going to be slowly improving our relations with Sylvania, getting even more diplomacy. I'm surprised we have a lot of diplomacy to do as being a endgame crisis faction. But as you can see down here, if you highlight the number, it'll give you the evaluation breakdown. For some reason, at the opinion he's at right now, the baseline evaluation is a -4. I think that's because of the difficulty we have the game set on. Our faction strength gives us a bonus 4.4 points to the diplomacy. Distance, of course, is a factor. I believe the distance is calculated based on your capital or your nearest settlement, which makes sense because his capital is in southern Sylvania. And if you look, our capital, or our closest settlement is Silver Pinnacle, so there's about 3 provinces there in the middle. So 3, maybe 0.4 per province, I guess. I don't really know the breakdown. Diplomatic prospects, I don't know exactly what that is, but that gives us a 1 to our favor, so we just glean out on the diplomacy screen by a point 2. We're going to balance the offer, which automatically replaces the leftover points on the diplomacy tab with whatever money he has in his treasury. He's going to give us 171 bucks for that non-aggression pact. We are going to take it. And it doesn't have to be just one type of diplomacy. You can also do trade agreements. No one wants to trade with us for right now. You can do military access agreements. No one wants to be our military access partner. Defensive allies, we don't have any. Military allies, Drakenhof is almost there. They're at minus 4.1, probably because of baseline evaluation. That is correct. Baseline evaluation minus 27. We have not garnered enough opinion with them. I believe opinion takes away from that. So you can see here from the relations icon underneath Manfred's portrait that because we have been fighting the Exiles of Khorne, Numas, the Sentinels, and the Skaven, our relations been improved by 21 because of that. And of course, our treaties with Manfred have given us a total of 55 as well. So we have a total of positive 173 relations. So you can see now our relations are going to slowly improve over time till they find their equilibrium. We're not going to have to worry about not having a military alliance for too long now. We're going to end the turn, and at the end of the next turn, we're going to evaluate the situation. I'm going to call the episode there. Skarbrand has started to send his hordes, now that he knows we're serious, out into our territories. We're going to see how that affects us. Meanwhile, of course, the Badlands is just a bad place to be. I mean, you can see right there in the center of the map, Nurgle's pox has landed right on the sands themselves. The Bloody Hands tribe is marching troops across our land. They have another wall popped off, because you can see by that yellow bar. Whenever they have a wall going on, they'll have an additional spawned army stack. Manfred is very interested in something in the southwest corner of the map. I don't know what that is. We don't see it through the fog of war. The ogres are at war with the orcs. Just sacked Plain of Tuskers. Brawler Guts Furt is his name. Meanwhile, the Sire of Morcaine, he's going to also march towards Death Gorge. He's going to drop one of his armies off at the province we just handed him. And alrighty then. So, Infectic has decided to once again bash his head against our walls at Nagash Shar. Medium casualties, close victory. We're going to save this battle for the next episode. I'm actually going to play this battle so we can avoid the replay issues. You can let me know your feedback on how that is, if you don't mind seeing more manual battles like that, or if you want me to stick to just the replays, be sure to let me know. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support has given me a great amount of joy and happiness that you enjoy my work, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you again.